Alright, we're going to start project number 2. Alright, project number 2 is going to be making things move. And in order to make things move, we are going to use a technique called tweening. So again, we're going to start with a ActionScript3 file. And let's see, good, we have no errors at this point. And I'm going to do this in 3 parts, and each one of the parts will have a folder, or excuse me, will have its own file, and you will see how that works as we go along. So let's start with a rectangle. We're going to put a rectangle into frame number 1. All right, and let us call this, I'm going to call this motion tween because that's what this is all about. So I'm going to select the keyframe in frame number 1 of our motion tween layer, and I'm going to insert, strangely enough, a motion tween. And it says that we can't do this unless you convert it to a symbol. Well, let's cancel that and let's do the convert to symbol part so you know what they're talking about. So we select the object. We can modify, convert to symbol, and in this case I want a movie clip, and I don't want to call it symbol 1. I'm going to call it box just for fun. You can call yours anything you want. And we're going to leave it at that. And now we're going to do OK. Now we should, he said, be able to insert a motion tween. Notice that shape tween is no longer available to us, but either a classic tween or a motion tween is. So when I click motion tween, watch what happens down in the timeline. Notice that I automatically get 25 frames worth of timeline. And so in this we have the box. Now the other thing to notice is, notice that the frames are now blue. That just indicates that we're going to have a motion tween in there. Now I'm going to move with the scrubber in frame 25. I'm going to move the box to the other side of the screen. And watch the screen because, bleep, I get this guy. This is a path along which the box is going to move. And so if at this point I come back to number 1 and hit the enter key, or no matter where, if I hit the enter key, it follows along. But I can grab that, and now it will follow that path. And I can grab any one of these and do strange and bizarro things to them. I can also grab the ends and move the ends so that now it starts and finishes. So you can move this anywhere you want to. Now the other thing I can do is with the double-headed arrow slide this out, and now it moves more slowly because it's taking 55 frames as opposed to 25 frames to travel the same distance. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and I'm going to put this not in project 1, but let's see if I can find, whoops, wrong one. I want my stuff, and I have a project 2. And your folder should be project2 underscore your name. And so at this point I want this to be motion tween. All right. No big deal. So now I'm going to close that. I'm going to get a new ActionScript3, and I'm going to save this one as, guess what? shape tween. And to make this a little more fun, I'm going to start with an oval, and it's going to be blue. Oh, there we go. And I'm going to click in the keyframe, and I'm going to insert a shape tween. Now, nothing happens. How cool is that? So I'm going to come out to frame 30, and I'm going to right-click and insert a keyframe. Notice all of a sudden I get this green and an arrow indicating I've got a tween, but absolutely nothing is happening yet. So I'm going to delete the blue circle, and I'm going to get myself a polygon, and I'm going to make it red. And I'm going to put it on the other side of the screen. And now I'm going to save this. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Notice I have my my blue ball. And if you watch, both the shape and the color morph or tween from one to the other. So about in the middle, you'll notice I have sort of a purple. And so my points are growing out of this so that you can shape tween as you go. So you marked the original, you inserted a shape tween, and then you chose how far out you were going to go. Put in a new keyframe. I erased the ball that was at the end when I got out here. Okay, now what I can do now is I've got another shape tween. I can get rid of that. Whoops, it would be good if I selected it and then made it green. So notice that since I didn't move it anywhere, all it does is change color. But if I now move it over to here, so that would be, let's call this. The concept of tween comes from the idea of I set what the content of the keyframes at either end were going to be, and the computer calculates what happens in between those two frames. So again, it calculated what should happen in between these two as the shape and the colors change. So that's a shape tween. And if I close that and now get a new, there we go. And I will save this as classic tween. All right, and a classic tween is the way things used to be back in the good old days. I will put in a keyframe or an object in a keyframe, and I will go out to frame 40. I will insert a new keyframe, and I will move this guy over here, and I will classic tween. And notice that in this case it moves across however far. Now let's see what we can do with this. I'm going to click in the tweening area, and notice that I get a whole lot of other stuff over here. It says ease, and I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. Now this is rotate. I can say clockwise, and let's say I put in the number 2. Now, watch as we go across. Notice that that then spins twice as it goes across. And let's see. Nothing happens. You effectively can't drag this one out. So all you can do with a classic tween, you don't have the path to follow. Now, let's save that. Let's go back and open up. Let's open up the motion tween. And I'm willing to bet, there we go. Yes, we can rotate, say, twice and counterclockwise. And so it's going to follow the path, and it's going to rotate at the same time. Now, why you'd want to do that? Well, who knows? You know, you've got a basketball that you're shooting at a hoop, and somebody puts spin on the basketball, so you want it to spin as it flies through the air. You know, there are all kinds of reasons you want to do this. You have an acrobat that you're trying to animate. My stick figure, for example, and I could animate the stick figure to jump over a vault and do a handspring as the guy goes. So there are lots of things you can do. And open recent, we'll do the shape tween. And if I do that in the middle, there's not a whole lot I can do. I have distributive or angular, and I have no idea what those are. But you can, with motion tween and with classic tween, you can rotate the object and you can determine how many times it's going to rotate. But you have to click in the area that is being tweened. Either the blue or what color is, yeah, both of them are blue. For classic, it's more of a purpley blue. And it has the arrow in it. The motion tween just is a blue area with no arrow. Okay, so you have now 3 ways of making an object move, and it all depends on what you want. If you simply want something to move effectively straight across the stage, I'd use a classic tween. If you're looking for a path for the object to follow, use the motion tween. And if you want it to change shape, obviously use a shape tween. Okay, there you go. Tweening.